Hello and welcome to English 204 Introduction to Professional Writing. I'm Dr. Tirrell and I'll be your instructor this semester. The purpose of this video is to give you an introduction to the course website, which contains information about course policies, assignments, and due dates. This is a hybrid section of 204, which means that ordinarily we'll have one course meeting per week in our classroom. For us, that'll occur on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 1:45 in Bear Hall Room 202. And then we'll have one course meeting that takes place online. That'll be Thursday for us. And for those meetings, you'll generally be working on your own, doing tasks, or occasionally you'll have synchronous interactions with me and other members of the class. Because this is a hybrid section, the course website is absolutely critical. So after watching this video, make sure you familiarize yourself with it thoroughly. The URL for it appears here on this slide right there at the bottom. It's also on the YouTube page in the information underneath this video. And you also should have received an email from me with a link to the course website. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at it here. This is it. And you can see we've landed here on the home page. A couple of things to point out are the navigational structure up here. We've got 4 sections right now: home, syllabus, assignments, and calendar. We'll add at least one more as we go throughout the semester, but this will be the same on every page. And then over here on the right, we've got a sidebar that's got course information, the where and when of our meetings, and then instructor information, so how to get a hold of me. My email address is there, as is my office and my office hours. If you can't make my office hours, you can always email me or set up an appointment. So we're here on the home page, and this is where I'll put updates and new things and changes and that kind of thing. Right now, we've just got this welcome message from me that tells you a little bit about the course and then directs you to other sections of this website. So that's the gist of that. The syllabus here, that's an important page. Probably you'll consult this mostly right here at the beginning of the course to understand the policies. And then periodically throughout the class, you might consult it just to get clarity on structure and policies and that kind of thing. But it gives you course information. It gives you an overview. We're going to be talking in class about, what professional writing is and how you relate to it and what it looks like in your field and that kind of thing. This is also the gateway course for the professional writing major. So if you are a PW major, you just want to make sure you're hanging on to all your coursework for this class, because in your 496 capstone you will do a portfolio, so you want to make sure you have all your work from your degree. The outcomes, you can take a look at these. This is a writing intensive competency course. It is also an information literacy competency course in terms of the university studies competencies. Another thing to be aware of is the textbook. We do have one. It's the Essentials of Technical Communication, the 3rd edition. Let's see, this is what it looks like. Yeah, there's the cover. You can get this at our bookstore. You can get it through an online retailer. You can rent it from Chegg or other places or get it electronically. I don't really care. You just want to make sure that you have it because we're using it immediately. I'll also be providing some other online readings on the course website, just through links. Another thing to mention here before we go on is you will be signing a course contract. This is linked here and on the calendar. What this does is it indicates that you're abiding by the policies there on the syllabus. So you do have to fill one of these out in order to stay in the class. It stipulates that you are abiding by course policies, which we all have to do. You can opt out of a couple of the policies, however. By default, you'll have access to your grades through our course website by use of a randomly generated ID number, and that number has nothing to do with your student ID or your birthday or anything like that. It's just random. But if you don't want access through that mechanism, you can initial here and opt out. Additionally, by default, student work can be used anonymously for teaching and research purposes. So sometimes I'll use student work from previous semesters as examples. Also for research in the aggregate, I use student work anonymously. If you don't want your work to be used for either of those purposes, you can initial here and opt out. So you do have to fill out one of these. You do have to abide by the policies, but you can opt out of one or both of those if you would prefer. Oh, you might be able to hear my young daughter He doesn't sound too happy. Other policies. We're not going to go over these in detail in this video. You want to make sure you read this after the video because you are going to be filling out that course contract. Just to hit the high points here, though. Technology expectations. The thing to take away here is you do have to back up your work. Your computer will fail. It's going to blitz, or the hard drive will die, or your internet will go out suddenly. It's going to happen. It's a promise. It's a guarantee. So you just need to make sure all your work is backed up. Because you're a student, you have access to your shared drive. I believe it's Timmy for you guys. I think it's Sammy for me. But you can get access to that anytime you log in on campus or even off campus through a VPN. So that's a great strategy. You can use a little flash, USB drive if you like. Just have to be careful not to lose it. The point is, computer problems aren't an excuse. You need to back up your work. The other thing to be aware of is we're going to be using some different forms in this course. And anytime you're entering anything into an online form, you always want to compose in another program, like a word processor or something, and then save that so you always have access to that material. And if there's any problem when you go to submit the form, if the internet goes out or it freezes or whatever, it's not a worry. You can just copy and paste and everything's fine. So that's the gist of technology expectations. Personal devices in the classroom. You can use your personal devices in the classroom as long as it doesn't disrupt another student's learning. That sounds better. They're laughing now. Or it doesn't disrupt my ability to teach. We live in an environment where our tech devices are always there. And so part of what we have to do is figure out how to prioritize, how to focus, how to manage those things. The thing of it is we only meet 15 times in person. So those meetings are all important. We're going to be doing face-to-face stuff. So you need to, kind of negotiate, all right, how do I manage, my tech devices, given that my focus really needs to be here. So you can use them. You just, if you disrupt another student or disrupt my ability to teach, I will make you stop using it. Availability of material online. We may be posting some stuff to this website, and this is just a website. It's out there on the internet. So we may post some stuff. If we do, you'll know in advance. And you may want to de-identify any stuff you post, just, so you don't always want to put your personal information in sort of a public forum. I don't think we will be posting much online, but if we do, we'll talk about it. Collaborative work. We do have a group project in this course, and we do just a lot of stuff as a class, like peer review. So collaboration is a part of this. There's no real way out of it. And it is a major component of professional environments and technical environments. So we do try and reflect that. We do try and get experience working as a member of a team. Now, to sort of make that run smoothly, we do things and we have processes in place so that group work isn't a poor experience. We all know group work can be a little hit and miss, so we do things that will try and ensure that it's going to be a good experience for everybody. Attendance and punctuality. There's no separate attendance grade. The thing to be aware of is that if you miss any more than 3 in-class meetings, you just fail. That's 20% of the course. We only meet 15 times. So yeah, times 5, yeah. So that's a huge chunk of the course. If you know you're going to be absent, you can clear it with me beforehand and we'll figure something out, how you can make up this stuff. Generally, it's not a problem. Just be aware that we don't have an attendance grade, but if you miss more than 3 meetings, you fail. So stay on top of that. Late work, I don't accept it because, again, we try and reflect professional practices. There aren't second chances in professional spheres and technical spheres. So we tend not to accept late work. The flip side of that, though, is nothing's going to be a surprise. Everything is articulated on the calendar. We go stage by stage for our projects. We do drafting and revision. We're all moving along at the same time. So late work generally isn't an issue. Academic integrity, this just means that we abide by the honor code in terms of penalties for plagiarism and cheating. It tends not to be a problem in this course and the university as a whole. Most students do not cheat. That's kind of an overblown fear. Very few students actually do cheat. The penalties for it are quite dire at this university because you have to go in front of a student conduct board, and students will throw the book at cheaters because they don't want other students getting away with stuff. I mean, why should they? Now, I don't think you guys are cheaters. Most students are not. I'm not going to treat you like cheaters because you're not. But the penalties are dire, so it's not even something to consider. Students with disabilities, if this pertains to you, we do, of course, make every accommodation. You just have to go through the DRC. I can't do anything on my own, so you have to go through the resource center right there at the beginning of the semester. Violence and harassment. This is a zero tolerance school. If you're in a threatening situation, you can always call 911. If it's not immediate, you can contact the care office, and I've linked to them here. Something to be aware of about this policy is all university employees, and that includes me and your other instructors, we're all legally obligated to report any alleged sexual misconduct on or off campus to the Dean of Students. That's not to discourage you from talking to me. I'm always available if you need to talk to me about harassment. Just be aware that I do legally have to report to the Dean of Students about that. If you do need a confidential source, we do actually have 3 entities on campus that are exempt from that legal obligation. Just these 3, however. That's CARE, the Counseling Center, and the Abrams Student Health Center. They retain confidentiality. Everyone else, your professors, librarians, employees, everyone has to report except those 3 centers. Religious observance, this is actually a state law. You're entitled to 2 excused absences for religious observance per academic year. The only catch is you have to report in writing the first week of the semester to me and the registrar. The thing of it is, your religious calendar, so you can report those right at the beginning here if it's pertinent. The last things that pertain to grading, as I mentioned, by default, we get anonymous access to our grades online. You can opt out of that through the course contract. You just have to initial and it'll opt out there. The grade components, and this is all of it. This adds up to 100. We've got engagement assignments, which we'll look at in just a second. Reading responses, those are quizzes and responses pertaining to our reading material. And then 3 main projects, the corporate communication project, the instruction project, and the service learning project. Those are each 25%, responses are 20, and engagement assignments are 5. That's it. There's no exams or participation or whatever. That's everything. As I said, we enforce professional guidelines, so there's no late work. I provide comments on drafts. We do have drafting and revision cycles. We have peer review cycles. So you're going to be getting a lot of feedback. Once things are submitted, you tend not to get a lot of comments from me with your grade because at that point, comments aren't really doing their job. The point of comments is to help you revise. So comments after it's graded are just sort of, here's why you got this grade. And that's not really helpful in terms of comments. You basically, when it's graded, just get a filled out rubric from me. That said, you can always talk to me about your grade, your projects, or whatever. You can email me, you can come into office hours. I'm always available. And then lastly, we do use plus minus in here. I don't use that punitively. It's just that grades are a very coarse mechanism anyway. I mean, this, your students. What does a B, say about what happened in that course? Very little. Plus minus helps it get a little more fine-grained because there is, for example, a big difference between a B plus and a B minus in terms of the student's engagement and productivity and that kind of thing. So I'm not doing this to hurt anybody. It's just it's a little more fine-grained in terms of what happened in the course. So that's the syllabus. We just sort of hit the high points. Do read this after you watch this video. You are going to be filling out that course contract, so you want to make sure you're comfortable with the policies. Your assignments, we're just going to sort of go over these quickly to show you how it works. You can look at these on your own time. Engagement assignments, that's 5% of the total grade. Those are just sort of small assignments that are both in and outside of class, things we do in order to make the class move forward. So, drafting stuff is an engagement assignment. We're going to look at an example of a form that's an engagement assignment just in a minute here. They're important small things that we do to keep things progressing. Reading responses. These are quizzes in class and out of class long responses, or longer. They're not substantially long, pertaining to our textbook primarily, sometimes other reading material, but principally our textbook. You'll be reading chapters and then you'll be taking quizzes or doing out of class reading responses. That is important because the textbook pertains directly to what we're doing. There's not a split between what's in the textbook and what we do. They work together. We need to make sure that we're comfortable with what it says there and that we're all keeping up with the reading. The responses, which are 20% of the overall grade, they help us do that. Then the three main projects, they're all linked here so you can take a look. We'll be doing these sequentially throughout the semester. The corporate communication project is the first one we'll do. And this just sort of shows us what these breakdowns look like. You got a summary of overall what we're doing, what you get out of it, that kind of thing. And then a section of deliverables, or actually what you're going to be submitting. These will be linked once they come due. They're also linked on the calendar, so they're easy to get to. And they also provide the breakdown of each element's grade weight for this particular project. So that's how the assignments work. You'll probably consult this during the semester, just sort of periodically when these assignments come up. Now, the last section here in the calendar, this one is very important, and it's the one that you're going to be consulting all the time, especially because this is a hybrid section. The onus is on you to kind of keep up with the course because we don't meet in person all the time. The calendar spells out everything you have to do. It links to everything you need, so you can just go right through the calendar and stay on top of the course. Let me just show you how it works here. The meetings are color-coded, so the light gray, that means it's a Tuesday and it's in class. White means it's a Thursday and it's an online session. So you can see they're color-coded even when we have days off or whatever. The color coding tells you what kind of meeting it is. The columns here, they give you the actual date. They tell you what's due on that day, and then they give you the period agenda. So let's see how that works in practice. We can see this first day is January the 12th. We know it's a Tuesday because it's gray. And our agenda is introduce course and discuss professional writing. We've probably already done that by the time you're watching this video. January the 14th, that's a Thursday. What you're doing is watching the course introduction video. That's this, so that's probably what's going on right now. And then you're submitting this personal introductions post. You'll notice it's linked. We'll take a look at that in just a second. You can see for next Tuesday, the 19th, what's due on that day. You need to sign the course contract, print it and sign it. You need to read the first chapter in our textbook, the Essentials Chapter 1, and you need to read the linked corporate communication project information. Then you can see the period for that day. The agenda is to complete our first reading response. That means we'll be taking a quiz over Chapter 1, and then we're going to introduce the corporate communication project and get started on that. So that's how the calendar works. You can go through the entire semester and just keep up with here's what's going on, here's what's due, here's what I need to prepare. One thing to be aware of is that we do have stuff due both in class and during online periods. So you can see even for online periods, we'll have things that we should have done. As it points out, activities scheduled for online periods are due before midnight of the same day. So what that means is for the 14th, for example, here it says watch course introduction video. I need to have that done by midnight. And I need to submit my personal introductions post. I need to have that done by midnight. I didn't write due midnight, on every single one of these because it'd be redundant. It's just unless I stipulate otherwise, activities for online periods, you have until midnight to do them. The way to think of this is that we actually do have a period on Thursdays. Just think of it that way. So that means we'll have stuff that we do for that period, right? So that's, in this case, watching the video and submitting this post. That's the way to think of it. So, for the 21st, for example, this is all the stuff I need to have done before Thursday's online period. And then this is what I'm actually doing, completing a reading response and beginning my crisis analysis activity. Okay, that's how it works. As I mentioned, most of the time you're just doing this stuff independently. You're not, meeting with me through video chat or something like that. We do that sort of thing occasionally, but I'll let you know when it comes up in advance. Most online periods, you're just independently completing tasks. Okay, the last thing I kind of wanted to do was show you this linked personal introductions post. You're probably going to do it right after you watch this video. Here's what it looks like. And there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to show you this. One is this is an example of the kind of form we're going to be filling out frequently during the semester. It's a Google form. And because we do this a lot, it lets me know that everyone's comfortable doing this. And it lets us have an opportunity to fill out our form in another program, save that, and then just copy and paste it, right? This is our first engagement assignment. It's our personal introductions post. And as you can see, it's just a few questions. So what you're going to do is, instead of writing right into this thing, because what happens if your computer freezes, or you go click submit here and the computer crashes, or it just shows white and you don't know what happened. You've lost everything. That's why we do not write directly into forms. What we do is we write in something else, probably like Microsoft Word, and then we just copy and paste it over. So let's see, introduction, provide a few sentences about yourself, including your major, year, and personal interests. What you would do is just type that. And you put your content here. I'm just gonna, put gibberish here. You would actually fill it out. And you'd answer your next question. The definition, in a few sentences, provide your definition of professional writing and identify a few examples of it in your field. We already started this on Tuesday, so you probably have some content. You've already got a start on that question. That would be here. And then you just do the rest in the same fashion. You can see these are red and they say this is a required question. What that means is if you don't fill out something that's required, you actually can't submit a form. That's actually good, because what happens if, whoops, I forgot to put my name in there? It won't let you submit if you forget, because it's required. So you're never going to be in a sticky situation. It's pretty foolproof. So I'm ready to submit. I'm going to put my name there. I'm going to copy and paste over from my external thing. And of course, I've been saving this as I go so that I don't lose any material. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it on my shared drive so that it's backed up everywhere I go. And I'm ready now, so I'm just going to copy and paste my answers here. I didn't do them all, so I'm just going to fake it. Once everything's good to go, I click submit, and it tells me my response has been recorded, so I know everything's as it should be. I can't actually edit this. You can see the link here. There are some forms that I'll let you edit after you've submitted. Some things I won't, like quiz type things and that kind of stuff. But other things you will be able to edit even after submission. So that's great, because again, if you need to make a change or if there was a flaw or whatever, you can come back and make quick revisions. So once I've submitted that, I'm done. That's my first engagement assignment. I'm going to go ahead and get back to our page. And that's really what I wanted to cover on this video. The calendar, as I mentioned, it spells out everything you have to do, so you can just go through and click stuff. Right now, I've only linked for the first couple of meetings, because I'll be adding links as we go rather than link them all up at the beginning. It's just kind of confusing. Calendar, that's the main thing. You can just walk through it, keep up with the class. The assignments, you'll be checking that probably periodically when we address the different major projects. The syllabus, go ahead and read that right after this video so that you are familiar with the policies and you can print and sign your course contract. And then if you have any questions about structure during the semester, always look at the syllabus first, and then you can ask me. And then the home page, where I'll put updates and any changes and anything you should know. That's the gist of the course website. Otherwise, welcome again to the course. I'm excited to have this course with you. Professional writing, I believe, is a foundational topic. Whatever field you're in, most of it is going to be communication. That's the truth. regardless of field, generally what you're doing is talking to other people, working as a member of a team. It's especially true in professional and technical and business environments, scientific environments. I come from an engineering school, and mostly what engineering is communication. Well over half of what you did was communication. The engineering of it was very situated and very kind of particular. So professional writing, as we'll talk about during the semester, is an important field. If you're not a major, this is the major gateway course, but you might consider the professional writing certificate, which we'll talk about in class. That's a separate credential that you can pick up, and it focuses on precisely this topic and how to be rhetorically effective, because that's what we want to learn. Not how do I make a memo, because that's going to change depending on where you go. But whatever the situation is, how do I use rhetoric to take that situation apart and then build something that's going to be effective? How do I achieve the ends I want through communication? That's what we're going to be focusing on this semester. I'll see you guys in class. If you have any questions before then, you can always email me. Otherwise, welcome again, and I'll see you around.